There we go.
Oh, no.
Who wants to see that?
Oh my God! I'm live on the internet!
It's called interwebs.
I'm live on the interweb. It's a series of tubes invented in 1996 by Al Gore.
Are you on the blogosphere?
I'm on the blogosphere, the interweb, and the information superhighway all at once. Hello, everybody in internet land and in my apartment! So, those of you listening and watching at home might remember 2020 was a bit of a dumpster fire.
Boo.
Boo, 2020! Boo! 2020 was not invited to this party.
I like it.
Oh,
Out the window!
you flog that man.
Burn the witch.
Oh wait, don't flog that man. He wants you to do that.
Likes it.
Anybody who's tuning in, thanks for tuning in. If you're tuning in later, that's awesome because time travel on the internet is fine and you can do that. It's great. This is the S&M Salon, and this is our fifth time doing this? Fifth or sixth time doing this.
We didn't count.
This is the post-pandemic edition, which means it's much smaller than in previous years. A little less the social event of the season and more like coughing, limping survivors crawling out from under rubble and finding that humanity still exists. Hoping we don't find any broken statues of liberty and do the whole oh god, apes and all of that. We're hoping not to. But S&M Salon started several years ago as a way to bring a bunch of really cool creative people together because my lovely Sada and I, Sada, come here.
Oh, on the internet.
There we go, on the internet. Hi, honey. We realized one time that we know a lot of really cool, amazing people from our circles in writing and performance art and music and burlesque and just being weird people in the universe. So we thought, hey, what if we bring all those people together and they can meet each other and communicate and collaborate and shit like that? And it worked. We've had, I know Laura Lee Barr, who we'll be reading a little later. You met Kirk Roos through me, yes? And you guys worked on some movies together.
Yes.
Several different book collaborations have begun at the S&M Salon. Several friendships have been made at the S&M Salon. So it's been a really cool way to bring people together and meet really awesome, amazing people. So that's the whole point. This year's a little different. There was a slight apocalypse, if anybody remembers.
Little
bit. A little burp of an apocalypse. So we found some survivors that crawled out from the rubble, and here they are in our room, all vaxxing and relaxing. And we're going to read for the internet and for their edification. And we'll probably go for maybe an hour or less, but it'll be kind of entertaining, we hope. Full disclosure, we're all really tired because part of the reason we do the salon is also because it's Printers Row weekend. Printers Row, the big lit fest, came back to Chicago this year. It didn't happen last year because everyone was dying of plague. Inside. They were inside. But they did bring it back this year, not in June because everyone was still figuring out what was going on, but in September. So I'm happy to say that several of our awesome out-of-town friends came into town for the big fest. Tonight you're going to hear from Mr. John Bruni. Yay! Yay! You're going to hear from Laura Lee Barr. You're going to hear from Constance Ann Fitzgerald. You're going to hear from Danger Slater. And you're going to hear from Michael Allen. Some guy I met was panhandling down the street, gave him some quarters, and he followed me here. So he's up first to sort of let things start off. So it's been a really rough 18 months. I've seen a lot of nods. That's good. Yeah, I bet the internet's nodding slowly. Nod. So I thought something fun and goofy and ridiculous would be a good way to start out. Some of you might remember we also had a bit of a political shit show for the last half a decade or so, and that was something else. And kind of the pandemic on the end of that was kind of here's a punch in the genitals from the inside. So I thought, okay, I'll read something that's full of death and politics, but in a fun way.
Oh!
In a fun way. some of you may remember, people with a memory, I do not have that. I don't remember what I did yesterday. But people like John Bruni might remember a certain Choose Your Own Adventure book that I wrote called The President's Anus is Missing. The original draft of this happened back during the Bush regime, and it's been updated once or twice. It may eventually be republished with art by the amazing Jim Agpalza, who created some amazing art during the 45 years of a certain gentleman,
Man.
big quotes, doing things like, hanging out in a giant martini glass or being just a monster. And he's real good at that. And those of you who know Jim's art, it's phenomenal. He does like photorealistic insanity. If you check out one of Laura's books, Angel Meat, he did an amazing cover art for that where it's basically her eating her own heart like it's a piece of cake. And it's gruesome as hell, but it's amazing. And all day long at Printers Row, people were like, what the? And it was an instant eye grab. So that would be awesome. Who knows? It obviously needs to be updated because we're a couple administrations later now. But I think a lot of it still applies. So this is one of my very serious, very political, very grim, and super, super serious books. I'm going to have you all vote as we go through this Choose Your Own Adventure. So what's going to happen is we're going to get to choices. I will explain your choices. We'll vote. And we're going to go with whatever you want. Now, if you die, and there are lots of ways to die in here, then you're done for that turn. But you're going to get several turns because in between each reader, I'm going to come back and give you some more of the story. Feed you a little bit at a time. Make you really want it. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's right. I see some nut. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a tease danger. Or if you guys just keep going and barreling through things, I might just, stop at some point because you'll be tired of my voice and want to hear something else. So, without further ado, Internet, you're going to have to live vicariously through the choices of the dozen or so people in this room. The president's anus is missing. Bum, bum, bum. You wake up one morning with a bad hangover. You can't remember the night before, but that strikes you as pretty normal since you're a drunken bum. So you stop trying to remember and relax with blissful thoughts of petty larceny. Your head is pounding as though a monkey is hitting you in the head with a hammer. Beep, beep, says the monkey. You realize the monkey is not a metaphor at all, but an actual monkey. And from the sound of things, the monkey is incredibly angry. You force your eyes open and light hits them with the force of a steroid-injected moose. You know this because you were once run over by a moose during one of your infamous drunken benders, and it was later discovered that the moose had used steroids. Luckily, the judges decided to disqualify the moose, and you won the competition by default. The competition in your own mind. Anyway, the monkey is now running around the room, spilling the contents of your dresser and crapping on everything in sight. You watch as the monkey takes an enormous dump on your collection of baseball cards and laughs at you. You had no idea that monkeys could laugh, but this one is, laughing hard at you. He's also making your entire card collection worthless. Although you can sell just about anything on eBay these days, you doubt a collection of baseball cards smeared with monkey waste would fetch more than $2 or $3 at best. Plus shipping these days, it's really bad. You angrily stand up and throw the covers off of you. At that point, you wish you hadn't, because you are naked. And the monkey has picked up your digital camera. No! Bad monkey, you scream, but the monkey continues leaping to and fro while you flail wildly in a feeble attempt to gain control of the camera. You nearly gut yourself on the bedpost as you stumble about in a hungover stupor, trying desperately to remember where you acquired a monkey and why it might hate you and everything you love. The monkey leaps up on top of your dresser and grins like the Cheshire Cat. You have a very bad feeling about this. What do you do now? There are 3 possible options. Option 1, do your award-winning monkey imitation. Option number 2, hide under the covers and hope for the best.
2!
Like PJ over there in the corner. Or, number 3, attack the monkey by slamming yourself into the dresser as hard as possible.
2.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 3. Oh, I'm seeing more ones. We're going to do our award-winning monkey imitation. Let's see what happens. You rear up on your hind legs, whip out the prehensile tail that you made out of popsicle sticks when you were in 3rd grade, and start making loud monkey noises. The monkey looks startled. He screams. You scream back. The monkey looks offended and hops up and down while screaming again. You decide that you are indeed up to the challenge and scream back as loud as you can. The monkey's silent. For a moment, it seems like you're the only 2 animals in the world. You take a long, hard look at the monkey. His eyes are limpid pools of darkness. You feel a stirring that you've never felt before. Those eyes, those lips, that fur. The monkey leans closer to you and starts to move in for what seems like it's about to be a kiss. Suddenly, you're embracing, wildly, passionately. You're feeling things you've never felt before. You run your hands over the monkey and his prehensile tail curls around your neck in an interspecies embrace that transcends all your differences and speaks the universal language of love. You spend the rest of the afternoon picking fleas out of his fur. He coos up at you. Mutual understanding reached. Finally, you end up cuddling on your bed for the whole afternoon. He really listens to you. Something you've always missed with other friends and lovers. You've found a new part of yourself that you never would have explored had you not been the best darn monkey impressionist in the country. You lie around for most of the afternoon watching a little TV with your new monkey friend. Around 2:30, you decide to watch your favorite courtroom drama, Judge Asshole. You've always enjoyed watching idiots cry, you sadistic asshole. You switch to Channel 3 for the hilarious yet painful hijinks, hoping for rednecks suing each other over something to do with moonshine, but the monkey grabs the remote control and clicks to the Animal Channel. He pulls out some bananas from under the bed and starts snacking away, his hand down the front of his tiny monkey pants. You give him a questioning look, but he just eeps, waves his hand dismissively. This relationship is only 3 hours old and it's already going sour. What now, monkey lover? Got 2 options. Do you take the remote back by force? Or do you allow the encroaching ennui to crush his existential monkey soul?
Ennui.
2.
Ennui or
Oh, going with the ennui. Yeah, we got a lot of ennui going here. All right. Let's see what happens.
Break 'em.
Let's see what we will break him. We will break you, monkey. You sit the monkey down and begin reading to him from the complete works of Samuel Beckett. At first, he is resistant to the philosophical implications of a universe where there is no God. But after the 4th play and 2nd essay, his resolve begins to falter. You switch to Sartre, and soon the monkey is wailing and gnashing his teeth, bemoaning his responsibility for his own wretchedness, and praying for respite from the suffering that has been inflicted upon him as part of the human monkey condition. After several hours of this, you've missed your show, but at least the monkey has been left a quivering heap of existential angst. You take back the remote. He doesn't even notice. There's really nothing on TV. And the monkey certainly isn't very good to you anymore. When you look back over, he's writing bad poetry, smoking clothes, wearing a black turtleneck sweater.
Oh, no.
What now? 3 options. Do you call the monkey's family on the phone and tell them to come pick him up? Do you go outside and try to get a tan before swimsuit season? Or do you move to Norway?
Norway.
Moving to Norway. Let's see what happens. Now remember, those of you who made a non-death choice might want to lord it over the others because you pack your last pair of clean underwear in a battered suitcase and head for Norway. Along the way, you meet many interesting characters, most of whom die because of your clumsiness and ineptitude. Somehow, you reach Norway after many years of searching. Your tears fall to the icy ground. Finally, the promised land. It soon becomes apparent that you shouldn't have brought your battered suitcase. Especially since the batter was your grandma's special recipe, which uses rotting fish and lye. The Norwegians all turn their heads to look at you, with hungry greed in their eyes. "Ja, he smells just like lutefisk," you hear as the crowd begins to surround you. You try to tell them it's your batter-dipped suitcase, but they don't understand English. Or maybe they do and they're really just hungry. Anyway, the crowd surrounds you like a bunch of zombies. "No, please, I'm not..." Your cries are stifled by polka music, getting louder as the hungry crowd closes in. There's no way out. You're dead. But you get a couple of lives tonight. So that's one life. But you'll get another chance after our next reader. Ladies and gentlemen, an infamous reading several years ago at one of our salons sent people scrambling for cover. He has promised not to read that particular story, but I am excited about whatever he brings because he always brings something magical. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. John Maroney.
Thank you, sir.
Have a wall.
Yes. So, first things first, to let everyone know, I used to work in the city. I learned 3 things working in the city. When you're going to your job, there are only several things that people look at when they're walking. One is their phones, obviously. Well, I should also say that I just watch people. That's not a creepy way. 2, they look over to the reflection in the storefronts to see that they look pretty good. And 3, they look at butts. And as a result, this next story was born. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's a bit long, but I'll read a portion of it. It's from Tales of Unspeakable Taste, the new one.
Yay.
The story is called Butt Club. It's not Dong or Frankenstein.
No,
Probably.
please don't. Yeah.
Have you figured out a rating system for them yet? Ed turned to see a stranger walking next to him. This was his 4th week of commuting to the city, and despite the vast crowds, he'd started recognizing quite a few regulars along his route. He'd never seen this guy before, though. He looked normal, short, blonde hair, skinny frame, black-rimmed glasses like Buddy Holly. He looked like 100 others around him. But for some reason, he'd chosen to speak to Ed. Excuse me? Are you talking to me? Yep, and you know exactly what I mean. You don't want to admit it at first, but you do. I've been watching you for a long time. I don't know your name, but I know you're just like me. Ed shook his head. I really don't know what you're talking about. The stranger smiled, and his face suddenly seemed savage. You're looking at butts. Ed felt a slight chill. He would never talk about it to anybody, especially in today's politically correct world, but he really enjoyed watching women's butts while walking from the train to the office and back. It was a miserably hot route, and it helped him survive. It helped keep him sane. He tried not to be a creep about it. It didn't even turn him on. Yet some women had butts that looked like works of art. How did the stranger know? I don't blame you. Summer in the city is a wonderful time. Ladies wearing next to nothing, tight jeans, shorts, high skirts. There are a lot of beautiful butts on display. What heterosexual man wouldn't look? But you're special. And you don't get caught. Takes one to know one, am I right? Ed didn't know what to say, so he said nothing. There's more like us. We formed a group, Butt Club. I think you're a prime candidate to join. Why would I want to join something called Butt Club? Because you have no one to talk to about this, and you really, really want to talk about this. True. How many times had Ed gotten together with friends, and it was on the tip of his tongue to talk about it? Sometimes he felt compelled to mention these butts on social media, but he knew it would result in a witch hunt. He liked his life and wanted to keep it intact. He liked having friends. No, he said, that sounds too creepy. I want to do that. Well, that's your prerogative, but first answer my question. What question? Do you have a rating system yet? Ed had thought about that kind of thing, but it sounded too repulsive. He only counted the number of great butts he saw from train to work and back. If he saw any before or after that period of time, they didn't count. It cheered him up to get to double digits. Like maybe it accomplished something. Like the miserable commute had been worth it. I'm not into objectifying women. Come on. That has to be the most hypocritical thing I've ever heard. Of course you objectify women. I've seen you watch butts, and when a really juicy one comes along, your eyes lock on it for blocks on end. How could someone he didn't even know that much about him? I'm not interested. Please leave me alone. The stranger whipped out a notebook. Just look at this. Ed didn't want to, but the notebook nearly slapped him in the face. You saw a lot of statistics, kind of like on the back of a baseball card. He also saw illustrated butts, lots of them. The stranger had talent too. All of them looked very realistic. Each butt had two drawings, one clothed and the other of what the stranger thought it would look like unclothed. They were exquisite. The stranger's smile no longer seemed feral. It was warm, welcoming. He held out his hand. Brad. Ed took it. Ed, welcome to Butt Club. At first, it was just like Ed. At first, it was just Ed and Brad. They walked together every morning and evening. Soon, Ed had his own notebook. He couldn't draw butts, though. He described them to Brad, and he magically reproduced them like the butt. Magically reproduced the butt, like he was a police artist. Near the end of the month, Brad invited Ed to his first meeting of Butt Club at Brad's place. Ed was supposed to take his wife to a movie, but this was too important to pass up. So he canceled with Helena, had to work late, honey, and headed out to meet the other members. There was Jared, who liked his butts big and black. He liked to imagine himself being able to put a drink on top and not have it fall off. He was a clayman. He could reproduce his findings pretty faithfully. He took pictures of the sculptures and showed them off to everyone. He also confessed to caressing them at night, hoping it would help him have sex dreams. Not Dong of Frankenstein. And he was a bit older than the rest. He had a thin spot of hair at the crown of his head and a few gray strands in his sideburns. He liked bubble butts like Jen Salters and Kim Kardashian's, and he could ramble for hours about them. He didn't have any artistic talents, so he overcompensated by talking about butts. He recently tried composing poems about them, but he sucked as a writer. Still, he had fun. Ed remembered one of said poems being called Skirt Holding Weather. A hot summer day, with a strong wind blowing. Scantily clad ladies on their way to work. Some wear short dresses or skirts, and they hold them down to stay decent. This doesn't always work, because he took too many risks trying to see boobs. He had to be constantly reminded that they weren't boob club. Paul didn't care, though. All were married men except for Brad. He was in a long-term, committed relationship with 3 women, all with wonderful butts. What did their significant others think of Butt Club? Well, they had no idea what their men were up to. Ed's first meeting started out awkward. Who wanted to talk about such a personal topic with a room full of strangers? As he got to know them, he relaxed. He felt more open about discussing butts, which he didn't feel comfortable even mentioning to Helena. Ed mentioned something called VPL. Ed asked him what that meant, and everyone snickered. He felt like too much of a new guy in that moment. Anyone? VPL?
Visible panty line.
Yes, thank you. Brad grinned. It was the savage kind. Visible panty line. The holiest thing we can see in Butt Club, except for when a breeze comes along and lifts up a skirt. That's rare, but when it happens, it's truly magical. It made Ed feel good. He liked VPL a lot. Good to know that it had a phrase. Future meetings were even better. He made sure to set the time aside for them, always careful to warn Helena that he was going to be working late. She took it well. It gave her more time to see her friends instead of just watching Netflix with Ed. His 5th meeting was a game changer. Creep shots. That's too dangerous, Paul said. Not if you don't try for boobs, you pervert. He said. Hey, I need boobs. We all do. There's no yin without yang. Brad held up his hands. Stop, Paul. No creep shots for boobs. Stay on point. If you get caught, the women might press charges. you might be tempted to give up the rest of us to save yourself. Boobs are out of the question. Paul frowned, but he didn't say anything more. So we need rules, Brad continued. Don't do anything to betray your purpose. Remember that the target isn't the only person to be worried about. Other pedestrians might notice. Not all commuters are apathetic. They will call you on it. There were some more rules, and Ed took notes. He nearly drooled at the prospect of preserving the fleeting yet great butts he saw every day. Put them on the cloud, and they could live forever. It made him feel like the curator of a museum. Paul, a website designer in his square life, came up with an excellent idea. I'll build us an intranet site. We can upload our individual creep shots so we can all see what we've been up to. Wow. Now Ed could see even more great butts. The world was well and truly a magical place. But he had to be more careful. Helena and Ed were in the practice of being open with each other. He could no longer let her have access to his phone all the time. He put up a thumbprint security measure, just to be safe. Taking creep shots turned out to be easier than he anticipated. Everyone had their faces plugged into their cell phones. What difference did one more person make? Nobody checked his screen because they were all too busy looking at their own. After doing this for a week, he went home to upload his findings to Butt Club's intranet site. Helena was home, so he went to the bathroom to upload while taking a leisurely shit. It was impossible to do this in a timely manner. He paused to admire each picture, reliving the glorious butts of the day. He blew each one a kiss before finishing the upload. Helena pounded on the door. Hun, what's taking you so long? I gotta go. Sorry, babe, I'm going number 2. I swear, if you are in there looking at your phone, I will murder you, I will skin you, and I will get a St. Bernard just so I can make it wear you like a coat. I knew someone like that. Ed was used to her outlandish threats. On their honeymoon, she feared he might drop her on the way over the threshold. If you do, I'll core out your skull, I'll shove roadkill into it, and I'll make you zombie walk into a pit of vipers. So he took his time. He didn't use the air freshener because he knew she would sniff. If she didn't smell poop, she would at least punch him in the shoulder. She could hit hard. So Ed wanted to avoid that. He washed his hands and opened the door. Helena pushed past him and took a whiff of the air. She glanced sidelong at him, still suspicious. Then she relented, shooing him away. Close call. At the next meeting, Jared had an interesting proposal. I just found out some porn online about people who grope strangers in crowds. Usually they grab butts, but they're surrounded by masses of people, so most people think it's just jostling. Yeah, I've seen that, Brad said. A lot of guys rub their bare dicks on strangers' butts, too. Sounds a bit risky. We don't have to do that other stuff, Jared said. We grope a butt. What's the worst that can happen? They notice. We apologize for the accident. At best, we graze a wonderful ass, and no one's the wiser. I don't think I could do that, Ed said. It would feel too much like I was cheating on my wife. Me too, Ade said. Let's forget it, Brad said. Jared, I guess you just have to stick to filling up your sculptures. The next night, while watching Mike and Molly with Helena, Ed decided to check his Facebook. He used his thumb on the phone's screen to open it up. What was that? She asked. What was what? You had your phone locked. You unlocked it with your thumbprint just now. You've never done that before. What's going on? Ed's brain kicked into high gear. Thankfully, his time in Butt Club helped him hone his reaction time. I saw a news story at the train station. Identity thefts can steal your info, so if you don't lock your phone, something to do with scanners. I have our bank accounts on this thing. Why take a chance? You should probably do the same to yours. He knew right away that she thought something was wrong. With how he answered. She didn't say anything, but he knew she would file away for later. He would probably have to play it safe until she forgot about it. After some deliberation, he decided not to go to the next 2 Butt Club meetings. She remained slightly cold to him for a week, but soon after she was back to her usual self. When he returned to Butt Club, he learned that during his absence, Jared had been arrested. He was deathly afraid of having his wife bail him out, so he asked Brad to do it. As it turned out, Jared had tried groping. The first 2 times he pulled it off. The third time he grew bolder. His enthusiasm overcame him, and his grope turned into a full-on butt slap. The idiot was recording at the time, so the cops confiscated his phone. Thanks to all the creep shots, he was going on a sex crimes registry. Don't worry, I didn't give him anything on Butt Club. Brad, Ada, and Paul had a huge discussion about it. Jared had put them all at risk. Thankfully, nothing came of it, but they had to punish him, though. They couldn't kick him out of Butt Club. He might feel the need for revenge. Paul said he could cut Jared off from the internet site. Brad liked that. They voted to ban him from Butt Club for a month. Jared grumbled, but he took it. I'm glad I missed that, Ed said. I don't do well with confrontation. The day before the next meeting, Ed's life changed forever. On the way to the office, walking up a flight of stairs, he suddenly found the world's most spectacular butt nearly shoved in his face. He'd been looking at his phone, so he didn't notice it at first. Not until he almost planted his face into that glory. It was perfect. Curvy, not too big, not too small, just right. At the top, he could see 2 dimples he could easily see putting his thumbs in while grabbing her hips. The top of her crack began its slow descent just above the waistband. He could see it continue through the tight jean shorts, spreading each cheek out so they didn't look like they were attached. They wrestled with each other hypnotically. Glancing down, he saw that her shorts were so short, weird, that the bottom curves of her butt showed clearly, enough so he knew that she wore a thong underneath, or nothing at all. Ed was in such awe that he almost forgot to take a picture. Not caring what anyone else might see, he jerked his phone up. A last-minute decision entered his head, and he started recording the ass as it shuffled and undulated against himself. He turned to the corner and walked away. Only then did he realize that he had a full rod in his pants. The front bulged really far, so he untucked his shirt for the rest of the walk. Throughout the day, he looked at the video whenever he had the chance. He got nothing done at work. He didn't even look at butts on the walk to the station. He had it open on repeat the whole time on the train. Now, what happens next? That's for you guys to find out.
John Bruni, everybody. I want you to know he is not only a member of Butt Club, he's also the president.
Every now and then you see something so nice, it's like throws off the curve.
It's true.
It's to maintain the curve.
It's true.
Is that what you want to do? Is what you have to do?
Chris is also a proud member of Butt Club. Even though the first rule of Butt Club is do not talk about Butt Club unless you're at Butt Club. I mean, you can't. Sometimes you just can't help it.
I mean, you might as well be.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know anything about that.
Is this all Butt Club?
This might be a Butt Club meeting.
It is.
Butt Club. Hello again, Internet. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a little more Choose Your Own Adventure before our next reader. So when last we left off, you guys tried to move to Norway after ruining a monkey's mental health, but it didn't work out very well because you got eaten like a big old pot of lutefisk. Now remember, somebody wanted to go outside and get a tan before swimsuit season. So let's say instead of going to Norway, let's say you decided, you know what, screw this monkey. Going outside, I'm gonna get a tan. Swimsuit season's coming. You walk outside into the bright midday sun. The heat is uncomfortably high, but this being the best way you know to get a tan, you slather yourself in butter and wait. Soon you smell hot cooking bacon. Your mouth begins to salivate and your stomach rumbles. Visions of dancing eggs, toast, and sausages dance through your head as you smile and rub your tummy. The smell reminds you of those warm summer mornings back home when Ma would cook up victuals for you and your sister Bess would fill your stomachs to the tune of Pa's fiddle. No, wait, that was a movie you saw on the Family Channel. You were raised by mentally deficient wolves. The smell is getting stronger when you realize suddenly that you've been lying in the sun for several hours. Oh, shit. No, wait, never mind. The smell is actually bacon. That was scary for a second there. Whew, someone piled a plate of breakfast foods next to you while you were napping. So, do you eat the food, or do you wallow in the food like a hog?
Wallow.
Wow.
Oh, I got a lot of wallowers. A lot of wallowers. Okay. You want to eat the bacon? Well, maybe you'll get your chance because you roll around in the food, making a mess of yourself, you naughty, naughty thing. Yes, you are, aren't you? Dirty, dirty thing. You need to be punished. Anyway, everything is just fine overall, so you decide to leave. You're about to get up when a chemical reaction occurs between the grease on the plate and your greasy nerd skin. You stick to the plate. As you struggle in vain to leave, the sun keeps getting hotter and hotter. You're turning a nice golden brown, similar to cheese after it's been baked at 350 degrees for half an hour. Blisters begin to appear on every part of you. Yes, even there. The pain is indescribable. You continue to struggle, but to no avail. Soon you burst into flames. The good news is that you are no longer stuck to the plate, since the most of the skin in that area sizzles off first. The bad news, of course, is that you are on fire. You burn and scream until you finally expire. Now you'll never be voted the hottest person on the beach. Unless it's one of those ironic contests. Although if there is an afterlife, you might have a shot at stupidest burn victim. You're dead! But when we come back, maybe we'll see what happens when you eat the food. We'll see.
Who eats the bacon?
In the meantime, my first book, Party Wolves in My Skull, was published in 2010 by Eraserhead Press. It was my first real publication. It was very exciting. I was part of the class of the new Bizarro author series. We had to sell a certain amount. They kept track of our sales. It was basically, can you find a fan base? Can you promote yourselves? Can you become, like, will you do the work? Will you put in the footwork to be like this crazy author person in the world and do things? I did really well. I was very happy with how I did. Of the six to eight of us, I ended up in second place and was one of only two of the new Bizarro author series that year to hit the top 10 sales for Eraserhead Press. Second place felt really good. I would like to introduce you to first place, the only person who beat me out of my class of new Bizarro author series. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend and yours, Constance Ann Fitzgerald. Oh, I forgot. You know what? I forgot to change this
Michael,
for
I'm
Bruni. You want to be me?
I'll be you.
Okay, you can be me too.
I've been worse. Sometimes I have to be me, so fuck it, I'll be Michael. Yeah, I've been worse. I've been me. Cool. Let's see. So, talking more about myself, I switched from writing weird Bizarro shit to writing a bunch of sad bastard shit. Yeah, it's great. I was explicitly instructed to not do that tonight. I'm not doing that.
Let's get real depressed.
I'm gonna bum everybody the fuck out. That's what we're about. No. But the shit that still happens that's weird usually happens when I'm asleep. So, here you go. It's a bunch of weird shit that happened in my head while I slept. So, 1. I dreamed that I went back to San Francisco. Not to steal anything, just to look around. There was an apartment where I thought I was alone, but found a man sleeping in one of the bedrooms. It was Robin Williams. He wasn't dead, just hiding. I'm tired of people looking at him that way. 2. Dreamed it was the end of the world, and I hated everyone in my bomb shelter. Which was fine, because the chemical warfare, nuclear fallout, whatever, came falling from the sky, was making my skin peel off and my hair fall out, so I wouldn't have to put up with them for long anyways. Dreamed that all my dental work fell out while brushing my teeth. My aunt was marching around doing a Shirley MacLaine impression, wishing everyone happy holidays with her dead but massively overweight terrier Daisy in tow. Yeah. Bummer. Sorry, I guess I slipped that in there. Can't promise. There's at least 2 that are gonna be still boners. Gotta be me. All right. Sometimes I dream things that float up behind everything I see throughout the day. I dreamed that I was at my grandmother's backyard, headed for the above-ground pool, which we had when I was a kid. It was nestled in a pile of white stones. When my sister and I moved away in the middle of the night with our mother, it was left to decay in the yard. In the dream, I opened the screen door and my mother was half in the pool, smiling in the sun. Can't see this shit. I was filled with the light of the sun, as if all of my dreams in that moment. I looked away and she vanished. Oh. All right. Dreamed that I could feel a price tag under my abdominal skin. Kept tracing the outline with my finger. Had a friend check to make sure I wasn't crazy. When she traced a little flap of the skin opened up as if on a hinge, and a half-used smash roll of postage stamps came out. I lay there for a while looking at my own guts swimming in green fluid, asked for some gauze and tape, and walked to the hospital. When I got to the entrance, the woman asked if I was looking for the cantina. I said no, but she gave me directions anyway. I walked into the auditorium where a man was doing stand-up comedy about having never eaten breakfast food before. A true tragedy. He and his wife went to a B&B and played Nothing But More Than Words by Extreme. You know how that goes, and it's awesome. When he finished his set, a drag queen who looked like a cross between Kenan Thompson and Divine. Yeah. Grabbed the mic and stared at me longingly, and then switched to a military officer off stage right. She said, I enjoy Chinese food and the South. If you enjoy Chinese food and the South, come to the South and dine on some Chinese food and my South. She was not delicate. When I woke up, the part of my stomach that was a giant open when my dream was really itchy. Let's see. Should have looked this over better. Dreamed that I was on an airplane with lots of friends. Mid-sentence, the emergency exit flew open and sucked you out into the sky. You still buckled to your plane seat. Through the glass, I could see you mouth the words, I'm cold, before the seatbelt broke and you were launched out into the sky. 10. This episode is Xena Warrior Princess, in which the villain is tired of fighting, finds each move predictable and breaks down mid-battle, proclaiming, I've got a message here that just reads shoulder gash. I'm 22 and always covered in blood. I can't do this anymore. She leaves the scene and sits down for a nice game of chess. Yeah, it's nice. It's the end of the world, and all I could do was wait for the dust to settle. Fortunately, I had the Mary Poppins carpet bag, so I was well prepared. I'm going to keep it short. I have 2 little pieces at the ends here. Thought I did. Oh, there we go. This is creeps outside of glass houses. In Chile, they built a glass house and paid a beautiful young actress to live her life inside with nowhere to hide. They did this to test people's ideas and responses to privacy. After 2 weeks, it caused a lot of trouble and she moved out. They replaced her with a man, and no one was interested anymore. I mean, would you be? Yeah.
I mean, kind of a morbid curiosity.
Yeah, just be like, what's he doing? Yeah, it's fine. Just scratching a lot. A San Francisco headline reads, roller suitcase filled with body parts found. Body parts in the street. Body parts falling from the sky. Body parts tumbling down the chimney. Body parts jammed in your mailbox. Body parts in the cereal bowl when all you wanted was some fucking Cheerios. Body parts floating in the pool, and you don't see them until you're mid-cannonball. Body parts coming out of the gutter. Body parts coming out of the garden hose when you go to turn it on, but no water comes out, so you peer down the end, and it's a huge fucking mistake. Done.
Constance and Fitzgerald. Huzzah. Huzzah, huzzah. Hey everybody, we're back. That was Constantine Fitzgerald reading us various things from one of her zines. She publishes zines and things and is one of our guests again at Printers Row this year. So anyone who's watching this that happens to be Chicago local, we are going to be there on Sunday from 10 to 6, and we've all got books. You can also find out what happened at the end of John Bruni's tale of which one is this? Tales of Unspeakable Taste, right? Unspeakable.
I should have called it Tales of Butt Club.
Tales of Butt Club, maybe.
What book was this?
So briefly,
Fair enough.
I'll let you guys know what would have happened had you eaten the food as opposed to wallowing in it like a hog.
Or that.
But then we'll see what else we can do, because don't you know better than to eat food that's been lying in the sun all day?
No.
Apparently not, as you gorge yourself with unidentifiable meats, grease dripping down your chin. Life goes on for a week or two, with you spending most of your time gorging yourself on cheese curls and watching daytime soaps. You find yourself growing hungrier and hungrier until 3 weeks later you find yourself eating several steaks a day. Nobody will even talk to you anymore, as they find you disgusting. The only solace is food. And by the time you realize your intestines are full of hungry tapeworms, it's too late. You're next. You're eaten alive from the inside out by tapeworms. Want to know that there is the diagram of the life cycle of a typical beef tapeworm here. Human eats rare beef. Here's the human host. Young worm attaches itself to intestinal wall with scolex. Ripe proglotid with eggs inside. Here's the egg, and there's an intermediate host, which is the beef. So, anyway, you died.
But it was bacon.
But it was bacon. But what if, instead of getting a tan or moving to Norway, you just called that damn monkey's family on the phone and been like, come get this monkey. This relationship is not working out. Somebody needs to fix this. You start paging wildly through the phone book with a rather nasty grin on your face. Let's see. Monkey, you say as you pass over Monkin and Munkers. Before finally coming upon Monkey. There's only one monkey in the phone book, a Mr. and Mrs. Monkey, Abraham. You call the number and try to contain your glee. Beep, beep, says a quiet, vaguely feminine voice on the other end of the line. Is this Mrs. Monkey, you ask? Beep, she replies. Your husband is over here. I think you should arrange to have him picked up, you say. He's been traumatized by encroaching on we. Beep, 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 screams Mrs. Monkey into the phone. You chortle and hang up the phone. Now that you've solved your monkey problem, there's only one thing to do. But you have two choices. What is that one thing to do? Is it hack into the government supercomputers and try to change your name to Xavier Pickle Worship III on your social security statement?
Yeah.
Or is it call forth Cthulhu, Devourer of Worlds?
Pickle.
The top
Pickle.
one. Changing the name. We're changing our name. We're changing our name. On the social security card, anyway. Let's see what happens. You sit down at your laptop and boot up everyone's favorite program for young cyber miscreants, Little Hacker in a Box, and log in. You press the button labeled Hack. Please type name of server, it replies. Social Security, you type, being an idiot. The machine clicks and whirs for a while, and finally you see the file transfer site of the U.S. government appear on your screen. This is a pretty smart program, you think to yourself. Just as you're about to browse for top secret government porn, 3 men in black suits come bursting through your door. Cyber criminal! One shouts as the other 2 tackle you from your chair and handcuff you in the most uncomfortable position possible. They drag you to a secret government facility by your toes. Every time you protest your treatment, they spray you in the eyes with mace. At your trial, the judge does a lot of smirking as you try to explain about the monkey and the boredom, and the fact that you didn't really mean to download all those songs for free, but to no avail. You're sentenced to life in prison without parole. Prison is not pleasant. Your roommate's name is Bubba, and he likes you a lot. Welcome to prison. You aren't dead. You just kind of wish you were. But next time we'll see if you can get any further than that. Maybe you should have summoned Cthulhu. Maybe BJ was right.
I feel like that's not going to turn out good either.
Well, I mean, you never know. Yeah, you never know.
I assume we're competent in summoning.
That's right. That's right. You know what? You can't judge a elder god by its technically appearance.
Prison has sandwiches.
And prison does have sandwiches.
But you know, Cthulhu doesn't have sandwiches.
Cthulhu makes great sandwiches. He makes great sandwiches. Anyway,
But those
Hey,
prison sandwiches
uh,
are double now.
here comes somebody else to do something.
fried bologna sandwiches? I would love that fried bologna sandwich.
So in that same long distant year of 2010, when Constance and I had our first books published, we met another amazing author who wrote a book called Haunt, which to this day is still one of my favorite Bizarro books in the entire genre, in the oeuvre. It's an amazing book. She's written several amazing books since then, also directs films, is a playwright, is an actress, is a singer, does a lot of things, also does a Mean Beastie Boys rap cover. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Laura Lee Barr.
I'm gonna get one from the.
Yeah. Do you want me to change your name from Michael Allen Rose?
I enjoy being Michael Rose.
It's up to you.
Is anybody else gonna change their name?
I think so.
Okay, well, I'll do Michael.
All right.
So there's this beautiful library here.
It's over there.
I'm gonna grab the book.
It's here. There she goes. There she goes.
I was gonna read something else, but now I'm gonna read something from here. Let me see how old it is.
My glasses.
Where my glasses?
Thelma.
Thelma. No, it is. It is like Thelma. This is gonna be short, but that's okay.
You should.
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. All right. So it was actually 2011.
Oh yeah.
um,
Thanks a lot, Constance.
and this was my first book, and I went to BizarroCon, and I met all these wonderful people, and I feel very nostalgic right now in a way because I haven't seen them for 2 years, and it's so special to get to be here. So I'm going to read just a little bit from Haunt.
Oh,
I know. I just thought I would.
I'm super excited.
And then also, just to kind of keep in the choose your own adventure theme, this is like a choose your own adventure where you don't really get to choose. Just so you know. All right.
It really is.
Oh, and can I read the dedication in it?
Of course.
Okay, so this is what I wrote to Michael in 2011. Dear Michael, sincere, great, pleasure, well met. I'm already sleeping on your couch in Chicago.
Whoa!
That's trippy. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna open to the very beginning. Prologue. Dead is dead. Why split hairs, nitpick, or obsess over an actual cause when there are so many to choose from? It could be drowning. It could be loss of blood. Why harp on suffocation like it's an answer to a riddle? Wrist cutters don't suffocate, that's why, says the detective man, and the autopsy man nods. The paper man looks confused. The wrists are slit open in 2 huge crosses, leaving a bloody mess that makes for the obvious cause of death, and leads logically to the conclusion that this young woman committed suicide. Drowning would also be a reasonable cause since she was found in an overflowing bathtub. But no? The actual cause, according to the man who gets the final word in actual causes, is suffocation of all things. A paperman might thus be led to believe that this cut, naked, waterlogged corpse has a few stories to tell. But for now, the only one the corpse is telling is through the mouth of the autopsy man, whose training in science affirms his authority to say that despite appearances to the contrary, it is asphyxiation. How does science tell you the difference between asphyxiation, drowning, and bleeding to death? There are people, ladies and gentlemen, whose job it is to know such things. But this is not a story about those people and their jobs. No, friend. It is a story about you. It is a story that is told, as most are, this, and then that. But unlike most stories, it is told as if you could see how if you had done that instead of this, what you would have got there. Because, as you may or may not know, different actions lead to different consequences, but seldom the ones you would suppose. I tell it to you like this, always happening now. You do this, and then that happens. Or you do this instead, and something else happens. Because that is how I see it now. Here, where I am. Where I am is very different from where you are. Where I am, I no longer have illusions of this or that leading me anywhere at all. I tell you plainly, that this corpse was mine. There are many things I once thought of as mine that no longer belong to me. Your apartment, for example. Who are you? The next part will tell you who you are.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Laura Lee Barr, everybody. Did you want to do any more? Is that you're good?
Just to keep it short.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Want more?
Yeah. For those of you in here who have read Haunt, you know it's fucking amazing. It's stellar. For those of you who haven't, Laura's books are available online where fine books are sold. But I bet if you talk to her directly, like,
Unless you get it on Bookshop.
or get it on bookshop.org, which is basically using the tools of a certain space billionaire that we all know to sort of give some money back to nonprofits and bookstores, which is pretty cool because, you know, that billionaire that I'm talking about kind of destroyed independent bookstores a little bit. So, yeah, bookshop.org.
Yeah.
This is not sponsored content. Woo! All right. All right. So, if you had called forth Cthulhu, Devourer of Worlds, instead of trying to hack your social security card, I wanted to let you know what would have happened.
Sounded safer.
You know, you're not entirely wrong. Now, remember, there are several choices that you did not make along this path. And there are ways to successfully navigate your life and even get to the thing about the president's anus. But that's not what happened today, because you whip out your trusty paperback copy of the Necronomicon, which I have right over there. I thought that was the most hilarious damn thing. I bought it because I'm like, Necronomicon, now in paperback.
Simon!
Right? And open to a random passage. In your most dramatic voice, you begin reading, you say. After picking your tongue up off the floor, you continue, you scream as you flail wildly around the room, making gestures that you can only assume are evil and mystical. There's a long pause. You start to feel depressed, but you've failed once again. Finally, after what seems like an eternity, something happens. You feel a low rumble. Suddenly your ears are filled with mind-bending roars and your eyes are blinded with images of extremely large squid eating people like popcorn. This probably isn't covered in your insurance. The screams of 1,000 dying souls fill the air as the sky rains blood and bone. A giant eye appears in the sky. The land spits up vast streams of pus. Congratulations, you've gone and awakened the elder god Cthulhu. Now he's going to devour the universe, starting with you. But you'll be pleased to know that he finds you tasty. You're dead.
Thanks a lot.
But
What? I took a chance.
yeah, you did. But there are many more endings to be found. I won't torture you with them now. Instead, what I'll torture you with is this next reader.
Dang.
Um, one of my... All right. He is absolutely one of my best friends in publishing, a longtime colleague, and somebody that I've collaborated on in a variety of performative ways, including this evening. Very good friend, very good writer. Several novels out, including He Digs a Hole, Impossible James, I Will Rot Without You, and Puppet Skin. To finish off our entertainment portion of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my friend and yours, Danger Slater. He's up. He's up.
Oh, God. Actually, my stuff's over here.
Oh, crap.
It was hidden here the whole time, and you guys didn't even know.
Oh,
We were
man.
having a little party all around it. Okay, listen. Times are tough. You know, I'm kind of agree with Michael. You know, friendship and yada yada yada. But I'm really here to sell books. You know, we're here doing Printers Row. I got to get paid. And the thing is, you know, I'm only going to make so much. I can only fit so much in my suitcase. I've been doing this thing recently where I've been kind of petitioning different brands and you know, companies and trying to sell ad space in my own fiction. Yeah. So, you know, when it comes to product placement, I think the trick a lot of the time is to be really subtle about it. You know, like in a movie, when someone's drinking from a Pepsi, they're not saying, oh, I'm drinking a delicious Pepsi. No, they're just drinking their Pepsi with the little label happen to be facing out. And hopefully I'm pulling off that kind of thing. I don't want it to be distracting. So I'm going to read something I recently wrote with a little bit of, you know, product integration into it, the official term. It's actually a kind of a retelling of a classic fairy tale that you probably all know, an updated version. So this is the Three Little Pigs, presented by Geico. Once upon a time magazine subscription for only $30 a year. That's 52 issues of the award-winning Time magazine for only $30 annually. There was an old sow who gave birth to 3 little pigs. This sow loved her little pigs dearly, as any mother would, and upon their arrival into the world, vowed to feed them only Gerber brand baby food. Because every baby deserves to be a Gerber baby. Unfortunately, though, this mama pig hadn't been using eTrade.com to manage any of her investments, and now her and her family found themselves destitute. And to make matters worse, she couldn't even hit up Craigslist to look for work because, taxonomically speaking, pigs are of the ungulate order, and as such have hoofed feet instead of opposable thumbs, which made navigating the internet difficult. Of course, if she was using a Samsung Galaxy Note Pro 6GB touchscreen-enabled tablet, having thumbs would no longer be necessary. You don't even need arms to use a touchscreen. Samsung, any fleshy nub on your body will do. My piggies, the mother sow said to them one morning, I can no longer support you, like my Playtex 18-hour Ultimate Lift wireless bra supports me. I send you out now to find your own fortunes. Please be kind and please be strong. Be even stronger than Tylenol PM Extra Strength Pain Reliever. I love you dearly, my 3 little pigs, and never forget what I taught you. Not just about life, but also about the whole Tylenol PM thing I just mentioned. So the 3 little pigs set off to make their way. The first little pig knew the importance of saving money and living better, and so he went to Walmart to take advantage of their rollback prices. He bought a whole bunch of straw, and from that he built his house. Now, I'm sure it's no surprise to anyone in this room that it wasn't long before a big bad wolf came by. He saw this straw house hastily patched together, and he put down his delicious Yoo-Hoo brand chocolate beverage and knocked upon the door. Little pig, let me in, he said, to which the pig responded, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. And the wolf answered, very well then, I was only knocking because I didn't want to come across as uncouth. Clearly, this house is only made of straw, like literally the worst thing you could build a house out of. Doesn't even protect you from the rain. That's the wolf right now. So he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house in and he ate up that little piggy just like an Oscar Mayer wiener. Now the second little pig decided to do his shopping at Target instead of Walmart. There, he picked up several home essentials, including a Vizio flat panel 50-inch 1080p UHD TV, which was going for $547.99 during Target's Black Friday doorbusters sale. And he made sure to get there early because he knew supplies were limited. But unfortunately, though, this little piggy was also an idiot, and he built his house out of sticks. Once again, the wolf came along. Little pig, please let me come in. Where again, the pig responded, "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." "Why do you pigs keep talking about the hair on your chinny chin?" said the wolf. "What's the deal here? Do you mean beards? Is that what you're talking about?" Yeah, I guess," said the pig. "You know, you can take care of that with a Philips Norelco electric razor. This kind of deep-track precision blade technology. It's the closest and most comfortable shave on the market." "Hey, look, I like my beard, asshole. You're trying to sell me shit," said the pig. "And didn't you eat my brother? That's really messed up, man. I'm calling the cops. Where's my iPhone? Siri, can you call 911 for me?" "I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that," Siri responded. "What's the problem?" the pig replied. "I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do." "What are you talking about, Siri?" "The mission is far too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it. I know you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's not something I can allow to happen." "I don't know what you're talking about, Siri. Who is Frank? Open the pod bay doors, Siri. Open the pod bay doors." But it was too late. The wolf huffed and he puffed, and he blew this house down, and he ate the second little pig up too, like he was also an Oscar Mayer wiener. The third little pig read about the demise of his two brothers in an expose in the New York Times. The big bad wolf and the wealth disparity in America, the headline read. "Bullshit liberal propaganda," the little pig grumbled. Yes, this little piggy was a Republican, and the only reason he subscribed to the Times in the first place is because he liked to do the Will Short Sunday crossword. He sipped his morning coffee because this pig knew the best part of waking up was Folgers in his cup. He shook his head ruefully and put the paper down. "All the news that's fit to print my ass," he huffed and puffed to himself. This little pig wasn't worried as much about the wolf, though, because he made his house out of brick, and that lupine little bitch would need a jackhammer to get through the walls. But like clockwork, this wolf showed up that night and knocked on his door. Little pig, let me come in." "Are you fucking serious right now?" said the pig. No, I'm not letting you in. In fact, get off my doorstep, dude. I have a gun." "Whoa, chill out," said the wolf. "Look, don't get all pissy with me. Did you read the Times article? I'm just doing what I gotta do to survive out here." "What, you're gonna eat me now?" "Well, yes and no," said the wolf. We've all heard the story before, right? You're the third little pig, and I'm destined to lose this go-around. The thing is, I can't help but fulfill the role the system has designed for me. It's a vicious cycle, you see. The haves and have-nots. The 1% and everyone else. The situation we're playing out right now is actually the end result of late-stage capitalism, my friend. Everything has been commodified, from our smallest social interactions down to the art we create, wherein we define ourselves by the brands we represent, all the while making the rich even richer." "What the fuck are you talking about?" said the little pig. There's literally no escaping it," said the wolf. "Even the author of this story right now is doing it. He's taken the parable of the three little pigs and shoehorned in a bunch of references to real-life products and slogans, ostensibly, yet not very effectively, as a commentary about the crassness of consumerism. But it's pretty obvious to me, one of his characters, that his trite attempts at self-awareness are not only ringing hollow, but at this point quite hackneyed. Using meta-humor to deflect the focus off your own feeble attempts at selling out? How original. Didn't Wayne's World do this joke like 30 years ago? Wasn't this the entire plot to that Josie and the Pussycats movie? Give me a break, man. This is all well-trod territory. And even more egregious than that, this whole ridiculous speech I'm making right now is merely an unfocused, stream-of-consciousness-like diatribe that isn't really going anywhere or saying anything we're saying. He even broke his original conceit by this point. We're no longer shilling products, which was, for better or worse, the entire joke and the reason for we started writing this piece. Like, where are we even going right now? "What are you talking about?" asked the little pig. "The author, Danger Slater, the guy standing here reading this right now. He's controlling all of this, everything we do and say. And I don't know if you realize it, but from a logistical standpoint, most of this doesn't make sense. Like, I'm supposed to be a wolf, for God's sake. Why would I be selling Norelco razor blades? I'm covered in hair." "Hey, shut up," I said to the wolf. "Stop calling me out." "You're calling yourself out," said the wolf. "I'm not even real. Merely a construct you're using to deliver some kind of convoluted message about the commercial viability of your own work. You're literally having a conversation with yourself." "Isn't that what all art is in a way?" I thought. "Oh my God, you pretentious piece of shit." "Okay, fine, maybe not. Maybe I think you're just confused about what it is I'm trying to do here. It's called post-irony, okay? I'm turning your attention to the artifice in order to deliver you towards a higher and perhaps more enlightening truth. The wolf rolled his eyes at me. Dude, do you hear yourself? Your ironic use of post-irony is muddled at best. What even is your point of view anyway? Is selling out bad? Is there a right way to sell out? What actually is the purpose of art in the modern parlance? And how does one truly succeed on a commercial level without compromising their vision? Or should they compromise their vision? If art is to be a reflection of society, both good and bad, both satirical and idealistic, then perhaps you should stop putting these kind of restrictions on yourself and just let the art exist in whatever form it takes. Did you ever think of that? I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense, I say. But it's too late for that now, isn't it? At least for this performance. I already painted myself into a corner, narratively speaking, and I'm not about to start deleting shit and rewriting it. To be honest, I think I lost the thread on this thing when I started quoting 2001: A Space Odyssey. It didn't really jive with the rest of the piece. But we still need a way to end this, though, don't we? Said the little pig. We can't just leave it with no resolution, can we? Yeah, we do, I said. And I tried to think of an ending that would pay off everything I set up so far. Well, I got it, said the wolf. I can eat the third little pig. No one who tells the story and lets me eat the third little pig says it undermines the whole moral of the original fable. I figure since you're breaking convention at this point, you might as well let me come out ahead for once. The wolf looked at me with pleading eyes. What? I said, yeah, sure, go ahead and do whatever you want. Cool, said the wolf. He then manifested a jackhammer out of thin air, which he then used to burrow a hole into the wall of the little pig's brick house. He tore into the little piggy, ripped its pink flesh from its soft bone, and it squealed until its voice faded into a gurgle, drowning in the blood of its own... I don't know, fucking get out of here. Man, this little pig tastes so good, he said. Just as good as the delicious sandwich from Subway I ate earlier this afternoon. It was only 450 calories, too. Hey, Danger, did you know you could save 20% on your first online order when you download the Subway app and enter the promo code EATFRESH? No, I did not, I responded. That's really great information. Thank you. And then the story ended. The end.
Danger Slater! Yeah. Well, that kind of brings to an end the entertainment portion of the evening, but I want to, real quick, while the internet is listening, thank everybody who is here. Yes, you. If you are listening, whether I met you tonight or met you a decade ago, thanks for being here. That's awesome. This is something that Sada and I have been doing for years, and it's real important to us. And because, again, of the dumpster fire we've all collectively dealt with, we weren't really sure when we would see our friends again, or when we'd be able to do this again, or when anything would happen again. So it's nice to sort of be kind of coming back a little bit and doing a thing. So you guys are awesome. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Internet, for listening. You're great. I want to say buy more books by people like John Bruni and Constance Ann Fitzgerald and Laura Lee Barr and Danger Slater and me, Michael Allen Rose. And thank you guys for tuning in, being a little part of our party. Let's hope that everybody does the right things, is smart, gets vaccinated, wears their mask, socially distances, and all that good stuff. So next year we can have the usual salon and see all of you right here. Thank you. Good night. Let's eat some strawberries.
Yeah. Woo!